The kingdom of Macedon was once considered a distant and inferior power by the Greeks, but it would soon rise to a level where it would dominate them. And at the center of this rise, there was a single man who would change history forever, Alexander the Great. But even before Alexander, there was Philip II, a ruler who rebuilt a weak and devastated kingdom. When Philip took the throne, Macedon was weak, divided, and constantly under threat. But he was not an ordinary king. He rebuilt the army. He established the famous phalanx formation, equipping his soldiers with long spears, giving them unmatched reach and combat capability. He strengthened the cavalry. He reinforced central authority. And most importantly, he united the Greek city-states under his central rule. His vision was clear: to destroy the Persian Empire. But just as everything was ready, Philip was assassinated, and at only 20 years old. Alexander took the throne. Many believed he would fail, that he was too young, that he was inexperienced, that he was overly ambitious. But Alexander moved quickly. He crushed rebellions, secured his power, and proved that he was not just an heir. He was something far more dangerous, a conqueror. In 334 BC, Alexander launched his campaign against Persia. With his disciplined and battle-experienced army, he marched into Anatolia. The first major encounter took place at the Battle of Granicus. It was a swift and decisive victory. This victory shook the Persians and became the first turning point of an unstoppable process. Alexander advanced along the western coasts of Anatolia. Cities fell one by one, some willingly, some by force. But the real test came in 333 BC, at the Battle of Issus. There, he faced the Persian king, Darius III, despite being at a great numerical disadvantage. Alexander made a bold decision. He attacked directly at the center. His target was Darius himself. This move was extremely risky, but it worked. The Persian lines collapsed, and Darius, leaving his army behind, quickly fled the battlefield. This was a devastating blow. From that moment on, the balance of power changed. Alexander was no longer just invading Persia. He was destroying it. He moved south, to the eastern Mediterranean. He captured strategic cities. Among them was the heavily fortified city of Tyre, which fell after a long and difficult siege. He then advanced into Egypt. There, he was welcomed not as an enemy, but as a liberator. And there he founded the city of Alexandria. This city would later become one of the most important centers of culture and science in the world. But the campaign was not yet over. In 331 BC, he faced Darius for the final time at the Battle of Gaugamela. This was the biggest and most important battle of his life. Darius had gathered a massive army, much larger than Alexander's, but numbers were not enough. Alexander used strategy, precision, speed. He broke through the Persian lines and once again moved directly toward the king. And once again, Darius fled. This time, there was no return. The Persian Empire collapsed. Alexander entered the great cities, Babylon, Susa, Persepolis. He had achieved what no one thought possible. He had defeated the greatest empire of his time, but he did not stop. He pushed even further east, into Central Asia, and all the way to India. But after years of war, his army was exhausted, far from their homes, tired, and unwilling to continue. They refused to advance. For the first time, Alexander was forced to turn back. But he had changed. Once a king who led his army, he began to see himself as something greater. He adopted Persian traditions, demanded absolute loyalty. He even began to see himself as a divine being. This created tension, both with his soldiers and with reality. And then, in 323 BC, at just 32 years old, he suddenly fell ill and died. There is no clear successor, no stable system, only a vast empire, with no one to lead it. His generals turned against each other. They fought for control. They divided the empire piece by piece. And just like that, the empire he built was gone. But his legacy remained. Alexander did not just conquer lands. He connected civilizations, he united cultures, and reshaped the known world. He proved one thing: sometimes a single man can truly change the world.